Welcome to the Mentally Tough Kid podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to build mental toughness in your young athlete. Hey there, I'm Eli Straw, mental performance coach and the founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. I'm talking about young athletes' mental toughness. It's best to keep things simple, which is why the first two characteristics any athlete can learn that will begin to build their mental toughness from an early age are self-confidence and the ability to properly evaluate their performance. So we're going to start with building self-confidence. To build mental toughness in young athletes, confidence needs to come from within. It needs to be born out of an innate belief in their skills and their abilities. But how can this be done? By teaching them a proper way of thinking and speaking to themselves. Because confidence is a feeling, and feelings are driven by thoughts. Therefore, if we want to build self-confidence, we first must turn our attention to what thoughts are filling their head and what kinds of words are being spoken. And now there's a very simple exercise that you can get young athletes to do that will teach them the power of their words and provide them with an actionable way of training themselves how to speak to themselves better. So step number 1 is to list out all the negative phrases or doubts they currently say to themselves. And then step 2 is to create a list of positive and productive statements that are the inverse of the negative ones that they identified. And then step 3 is to repeat the positive and productive statements once every day. And I especially like the young athletes to do this looking in the mirror. If they look in the mirror and repeat these phrases to themselves, that's even better. Now, I know this is a simple exercise, but it's honestly a very powerful exercise when it comes to teaching young athletes how to speak to themselves in a way that is going to increase their self-confidence rather than lower their self-confidence. And then the next thing that you can do is teach them a post-performance evaluation. As a mental performance coach, one of the main challenges that I see athletes faced with is perfectionism. That feeling of, never being perfect and always scrutinizing their performances. I see this a lot, especially in younger athletes. Now, I'm a huge advocate for constantly seeking improvement and trying to get better. However, this must be done in the proper way. Perfectionist thinking often forms early on. It's a habit of always looking at what you did wrong in hopes of improving, but even though you find what you need to improve, it's often overshadowed by the negative emotions of knowing that you made a mistake and ultimately seeing yourself as not good enough, not perfect, or simply as a failure. To build mental toughness in young athletes, there needs to be a strong understanding of how to look at practices and performances from a more productive perspective. This keeps them from growing too concerned with outside approval, one of the key factors that works against being mentally tough. Now, I love to keep this exercise as simple as possible, especially the younger the athlete is. And so it's broken down into 2 different questions that you can ask them after practices and after games. Question 1 is, what did you do well today? And question 2 is, where can you improve or what can you learn? That's it. But it's crucial the questions are asked in that order. That way the athlete is being trained to first focus on the positives, which boosts their confidence. And then they are free to objectively look at where they can improve, but not look at the areas and the mistakes in order to be critical, but in a productive way, right? Looking at mistakes to learn something. By helping your young athlete build confidence and evaluate their performances better, you are giving them a great way to begin building mental toughness. But if you want a more in-depth approach to mental training for your young athlete, then you need the Mentally Tough Kid. With this course, your young athlete will learn the 6 key fundamentals of mental training and mental toughness. These are going to include managing mistakes, building self-confidence, improving their focus, calming their nerves before a game, goal setting, and learning how to enjoy themselves better. The course is broken down into 6 modules, with each module going into detail on one of the 6 fundamentals. Within each video, your young athlete will be guided through an exercise for them to complete in the workbook that accompanies the course. So to learn more about the Mentally Tough Kid, go ahead and click the link that I put in the description below. Whether you use the Mentally Tough Kid or you apply the strategies that I talked about in this video, I encourage you to begin getting your young athlete started on the path towards building mental toughness. Now, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I put out new videos each week on building mental toughness in your young athlete. Thank you for listening, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do.